is named Dr. Jack Allen. He is the founder and owner of Dynamic Coaching, LLC. He has studied extensively in ethics and motivation and started 6 businesses and 6 nonprofits. He has spoken to over 100,000 people in every major U.S. city, as well as Ireland, Kenya, Rwanda, and Guatemala. Since 2016, he has overseen nominee vetting for the annual Ethics in Business and Community Award with Recognized Good. He specializes in helping people balance demands to find the good life. And the title of his presentation is Make More Money. Listen attentively and take good notes, Dr. Jack Allen.
Thank you. Can anybody here think of an organization that you really feel good about? That you see, okay, you're not, tell me. Dell Medical School. All right, there's a good example. Anybody else? All right. Here's one. What is it about those organizations that makes you feel good about them?
Bringing IT into medicine.
Bring IT into medicine, so they're doing something that's hopefully going to be really good for all of us, right? Yeah. It seems to be. You know, I had a guy tell me the other day, speaking of that, medical doctor, he said if technology continues to improve medicine for the next 30, 40 years, the way it has the last 30 or 40 years, that someone my age may not be looking at the last quarter of life, but might be at halftime. How's that change the way you look at your career? And not only that, but that you may be able to be healthy and productive well after 100. What is it about Dell that you like?
They're trying to start fresh with planning the way medical education is delivered.
I should have talked about medicine today, shouldn't I? Know your audience. Okay, so they've got something good. Again, it's a benefit to the community. That's really what both of you have said. That would be the right category, a benefit to the community. Would you agree? That's how you make money. It's the unseen, unspoken, unthought much about. Do you want to make more money? Now, I mean, seriously, anybody who looks at me and says, no, I really don't want to make any money, either they've already got too much, and I've never met that guy, or they're lying, or they just badly uninformed. I mean, I would love to make more money, mostly because I love giving the stuff away. Don't you? Really? Don't you love giving yourself to others? Well, you're nodding. What about giving away to others? What do you like about that? Tell me.
It gives meaning to the reason you get up every morning.
Gives some meaning to your life. All right. So I'll tell you about an organization I know about, and I guarantee you every one of you not only knows about it, but if you're like me and you look at your budget once a month, you see their name more often than just about anybody else. H.E. Butt Grocery Stores. Do you love them? I will go past, I'm not lying, I will drive past from my house to H.E.B. I will drive past 4 grocery stores. I don't know how many convenience stores. I live right in the middle of the city. To go to H.E.B. for one reason. They give back to our community. That is the only reason. The milk is the same here as it is over here. The prices are within spitting of each other. It doesn't even matter. But H.E.B. gives back so well that after the most recent give back opportunity, how many of you on Facebook saw the videos of H.E.B. trucks drive big, gigantic 18-wheelers going all over Texas to get stuff people needed down to the people who needed it? They didn't charge. They didn't gripe. They didn't complain. They just did what they needed to do. And because of that, the last time I checked, somebody, in fact, if you have a smartphone, get it out because we're going to use it. The last time I checked, one of those videos, just one, I think they had 4 or 5 that they put out, just one of those videos had 190,000 shares. That means that without paying a dime, HEB got 190,000 people to be their advertising company. Somebody real smart told me one time that I have a media company in my pocket. I never thought about that before. HEB thought about it. Now, why does HEB give back? Do they give back to make more money? Is it give to get? A lot of people do that. No, that's not why. It's part of their core values. Their core values are to be. I'm not going to say it in their words. I'm going to say it in Jack's words. In my words, they give back because it is the right thing to do, and their company is formed on let's do the right thing. I've been very privileged to know a couple of the people that over the years have moved up in their organization, and every one of them, without fail, is the kind of person that tends to do the right thing. And I think that's the attitude that creates this amazing amount of wealth from sources that most of us really hadn't spent a lot of time thinking about. And this will work for you as well. So, why does this work for us? When you're known for giving back, it builds a sense of trust and loyalty in other people. Well, it builds a sense of loyalty, and loyalty comes from trust. Now let's try that exercise just one more time. I want you to think of a local company that you trust. I've already had 2 that were named. Anybody want to name another one? This is important because you're about to use this information. Wheatsville Co-op. Very much known for giving back, aren't they? Yeah. All right, here's what I would like for you to do. Take your smartphone out. Open up your browser. And
May not be able to get internet in this room.
I can.
Yeah, some of us.
It's one bar.
I can. And let me tell you something about my phone. Apple has been telling me now about once or twice a month for 6 months that I need to buy a new phone.
Yeah.
It comes up with a little thing. It says, storage full. And if you tap on that, you know where it goes next? It goes right to the Apple Store. No, it should. Go right to the Apple Store. My new phone's coming in 5 days. Don't ask me why, because I need one, all right? In fact, I was so happy yesterday. I was so excited yesterday because my loan was approved for my new phone. It's just great. I mean, right? You want to be me now, don't you? I know. This is great. All right, if you got your phone, you got it open to a browser, type in the following words, one word. 2 words, we're going to smash them together in one word. Because you know how the internet works, right? This new thing? I think it's going to stick, this internet thing. RecognizeGood.org. RecognizeGood.org. Type that in. Raise your hand when you got it. All right, it's good. So somebody's got internet. That's really what I was looking for there. You don't have to keep your hand up. All right, recognizegood.org. When you get there, you're going to see a screen on your screen. And it will have a menu. You see the little 3 lines at the top? Don't touch that. It's in orange. And then right below, you see a blue line. And there's a little menu tab. It's 3 little lines. This is how smart I am. I learned what that meant. Because I asked Joel. This is how smart I am. I asked Joel. All right. Touch that menu, and it will drop down, and it will say, Joel, what's it say? Something to the effect of EIBC nominee.
Yeah.
You see that? EIBC Ethics in Business and Community. Tap that. And that's going to open up a nomination form. That company that you were thinking about, that you love so much, nominate them for an Ethics in Business and Community Award. I don't know how many people's in here right now, but I expect by the time I leave, I ought to get about 100 nominations. Don't you think, Joel? Joel, my boss back there.
And you can also nominate us. We're okay.
Oh, we're not there yet. Hang on, we get to you.
Oh, sorry.
Settle down. I love Shannon. Y'all ought to give Shannon $1 before you leave. Really. Just because. I will. Well, I already gave her 50. Right? Do I need to... have you forgotten that already? I worked out a deal for Shannon already today. You made $50 today. You don't even know it. It's coming. Coming from her. Okay, you got it in there? Now, you may not know the contact person, but you know the website. You can bookmark that website, and I want you to please do that. This is how we get nominations. If you want, you can nominate yourself. When I get the I don't get the nominations, and there's a reason I don't get the nominations, because I oversee the vetting, and I don't want to know who nominates who. If Matthew McConaughey nominates you, I don't care. Well, I care a little bit. We'll go to his box, right? We'll watch the game from his box. Companies like HEB that give back, that have a great brand loyalty and a great name for themselves, they get that from people like me who love what they do. And we notice what they do. And yesterday I had a conversation with somebody in the HR department in HEB in San Antonio, and I said, I got one question for you. It'd take me a minute and a half to answer this question, with 10 seconds to answer this question. When you hire people, because you're so known for giving back, does that play any part in your hiring? What do you think they said? Yes. They ask their candidates what sort of things they do outside of work. And they expect to hear things like, well, I play with my kids and I watch TV and I go to movies and I go to church or I go to synagogue or I go to the park or whatever. But what they're looking for, and if they don't get it, they'll ask specifically, is what do you do to give back to your community? Because that's the type of people that these businesses that you revere and I revere and we are loyal to and we trade with and we act as advertisers for without receiving any compensation whatsoever. That's what we like. And they know it. And that's how you and I make more money from giving back. Now, once again, if your attitude is, I'm going to give to get, well, you'll probably still get. I really don't like your attitude, though. But if your attitude is, I give because it's the right thing to do, now that's when we're talking about, because that person will do other right things. Would you agree? All right, we're on the right track. So now you've got somebody that's nominated. Now you've been able to show some appreciation to a business that you are loyal to. Imagine if you had a business and someone said, I've nominated your business for an ethics award. Two things happen. Number one thing is, wow, that's fantastic, thank you. Number two is they start telling the employees, y'all better behave. We've been nominated for an ethics award. Somebody could be paying attention. We got a bunch of kids coming over here going to be asking us hard questions because this award is not bought, it's earned. You can buy ethics awards. I know that seems a little weird. It seemed weird to me when I first found out. I didn't know that until a few months ago, that you could buy an ethics award. But you can't buy ours. Ours is earned. That's right here in Austin. See, Austin I was born here. And Austin has always been a place with this giving back attitude. Austin's always had, as long as I remember, and I've lived in other places, Austin's always had a couple of different attitudes that are different, from other places where I've lived. And the number one thing is this idea that our community is ours and we want to give back within our community. And it's everyone that I remember this my whole life growing up. The other one is can do. I remember in the 80s when things have been bad recently, it was really bad. You could not buy or sell property. You couldn't get a loan. And I remember one of my mentors stood up in front of a group of about 600 or 700 people and said, you know what? We don't have a money problem. We have an idea problem. That has stuck with me and served me my whole life. And that is the attitude of the city that you currently reside in. If you came from California, we're so glad you're here. Leave your taxes. We're so glad. You came from where? From Illinois or Indiana? One or the other. People like me, we don't know those states. What school in Illinois? Okay. Okay, from Missouri, you said. Now, I do know a little bit about, I know about that. But see, in Texas, it's Texas and it's not Texas. That's all we worry about. I mean, seriously, y'all think I'm crazy, but in first grade, they taught me that. It's Texas and not Texas. Second thing, that this helps you, how this helps you. When you give back, and I mean specifically, you volunteer your time, what you do is create a motivating atmosphere for elevation of core values. Everyone around you, an atmosphere of elevating core values. When that happens, the best people want to hire you. The best people want to work with you. The best people want to work for you. The best people want to train you. Now, here's why. I have spent 25 years studying motivation. The last 10 have been the most productive because suddenly people started saying something different. The reason they started saying something different, technology. Our friend right here brought up. Technology has given us the ability to look inside a person's brain when something is happening. And it turns out that when you are giving back freely, parts of your brain fire that don't otherwise fire. Those parts are the positive parts that add meaning and value and creativity to your life. And those things, your brain hears that noise about happiness and meaning and value and creativity, and it thinks all those are goals. And it sets about trying to prove those goals true. And that means that every place you walk into, you come in with a different attitude. Every person whose hand you shake, every person you talk to about what you do for a living, the type of work that you're looking for, the type of people you want to work with, what you're presenting them, we call it body language. I'll be honest with you, I've read a lot of stuff on body language, and some of it's true and some of it's not, but the best one I read was from a guy who used to teach FBI agents how to interview criminals. And he said that he could tell the attitude, the inner attitude of a person within a minute, just by how they present themselves. There was a study done years ago, I still remember this from my graduate work, it was a study done years ago where they had people in a room, they had a person in a room, and they'd worked with that person they had them strapped into some stuff reading their brainwaves, and they got them in there and they got them to kind of a level state. And in the other room over here, they had a person and they were putting them in a very negative state, watching negative images on a screen and hearing negative words, just real, ugh. And the one over here, just the opposite. All positive information, positive words, those kind of things. And then one at a time, they got Mr. Neutral in here. They bring in Miss Negative, and she comes in, and without saying a word, the person sitting in the chair that had been neutral starts to turn, the parts of their brain start to fire on the negative side. That's crazy. They took her out. They brought in Miss Positive. Same thing happens. She comes in, doesn't say a word, and all of a sudden the mood starts to change, different parts of the brain start to fire, and the person sitting in the chair becomes more positive. Now listen to this. Then they brought Miss Negative back in with the other two in there, and all three moved toward negative. Negative emotions and attitudes are more powerful. The reason for that is your brain is made, perfectly designed to help you survive. And survival, when we're being chased by someone or thing or animal or what have you that wants to kill and eat me, Being negative is really helpful. But you know, I almost never walk outside in the morning and find somebody that's trying to kill me. Very rarely happens in beautiful Austin, Texas, with one of the lowest crime rates on the planet. Isn't that interesting? When you give of yourself freely, it causes all the right things to fire, that cause all the right people to notice. That's how you make more money, by volunteering. Isn't that cool? Your brain is designed for this. I'm going to tell you two stories right quick. One of them, a young lady I worked with. Now, if I have your story, and it's really good, I mean, if you made the honor roll, I'm going to tell everybody. I will rat you out. If you win awards, I will talk about you. If your laundry's dirty, you will never hear it from me. That's been my rule for 30 years. Another one of my mentors explained how that works. I don't gossip about anybody. I don't talk about anybody. I keep things confidential. When I'm telling stories about everybody, I do tend to change names. So this one we're going to call Katie. Katie came from the worst part of Austin, went to the worst schools in Austin, was abused, had the most awful story you ever heard. Everybody thought Katie had grown up with a silver spoon in her mouth and just had the perfect life. But I knew her real story. And her real story was incredible. Katie, when we had events, this is when I used to do development and team member care. I created a team member care for a company here in town that you know is Rudy's Barbecue and Mighty Fine Burgers. When you go in there, you probably like their employees. You're welcome. All right? So here's the deal. Katie, every time we did a community impact event, which was just a way of saying us giving back, I don't think she missed one. In fact, I know she didn't miss one because at the leadership seminar that we did, the recognition banquet that we did, she got the award for the most give back hours. I've known Katie for 7 years. In 7 years, her income has increased 220%. That ain't bad. Take your income where you would like it to be. I mean, just do the math on that. Increase your income by 220%. What's different? She had this amazing attitude of helpfulness. Another young lady that worked for us, we're going to call her Jennifer. Jennifer came from the best part of town, went to the best schools, everything right, never missed an opportunity to complain, never missed an opportunity to blame somebody else. In fact, she was on thin ice pretty much the whole time I knew her. And she never once made it out to a volunteer event. Over 7 years, Jennifer's income increased 2%. Which do you want? 2% increases? No. 200% increase. Actually, I'll be honest with you. I'd like maybe 2,000 or 3,000% increase. Wouldn't you? I mean, I know some of y'all are looking for jobs, and your income may be pretty low, and I understand that. You would like infinite increase. You're going to get that. It's going to happen. You will not always be looking for a job, right? Right. And by the way, I just taught you another trick that you can use. Telling yourself the right things, and you will present yourself better. Doing the right things. You've already been given half a dozen opportunities. How many opportunities did you present for volunteers? Was it just 2?
Well, we probably was one of the colleagues.
Do you know? Okay, all right. I was going to say, and I bet you know some more opportunities too.
If you don't have them, I always say
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. In fact, whatever it is you want to volunteer at, you can find it in this town. Because we are a city of giving back. So there's tons of nonprofits and tons of places. They're everywhere. There's all kinds of places that would love to put your expertise to work. So one of the things that we find about this motivating atmosphere is that the best teams are the teams that work together. I want to just suggest to you, get a team, find a buddy, and go do some volunteering together. Because here's what we find is that motivating atmosphere elevates when there's more than one person. And by the way, I don't know, this is not scientific, this is just, anecdotal. But the best volunteer opportunities that I have found for building teams are the worst conditions. If it's really hot and sweaty outside and you go over to Fulmore, it used to be Fulmore Junior High, Fulmore Middle School, and do outdoor landscaping to where you are wet from tip to boot, that will build more good vibes among the other people. Apparently sweating is really good for building teams. The best one I ever did was in Nicaragua. I took a team to Nicaragua. We did ditches in Nicaragua, which is digging ditches in a jungle. It's what it felt like. Well, I like digging ditches outside yesterday. Here, right? I mean, it's just it's 80% humid all the time. It's ready. You don't have to take water. You just open your mouth and breathe. It's just amazing. And that team came back and was so together and tight, knew each other's stories, loved each other, and would work for the benefit of each other. And the atmosphere around those people, the vibes. I'm serious, but you tell how old I am. Just use the word vibes in a sentence. It really does work. It elevates everything good that's in your life that you want to see. And it comes across, I guarantee you, it comes across in an interview. I want you to think for a moment and take out a piece of, if you don't already have a piece of paper, I think most of you do, write down 3 or 4 core values that you hold dear. Somebody throw one out. Honesty.
Stewardship.
Stewardship. Tell me what you mean by stewardship.
Taking responsibility and giving back.
Taking responsibility for
Resources.
For your resources. Okay. Being responsible with your resources. All right.
Be it financial or
Giving back.
environment or
Interestingly, honesty is the number one core value that companies say they want and gets people fired the fastest. and guess where the most dishonesty appears? Well, I don't guess. That's silly. I'm not going to make you guess. I'll just tell you. My research shows that the number one thing that companies find where dishonesty appears is in reporting. Dishonest reports. I was part of a company one time that a senior level member of the organization killed the company with dishonest reports. Yeah. Bad stuff. Okay, what's another one? Integrity. How is integrity different from honesty? Now, I really am asking because I know there's a difference.
I think it goes to who you are and what you will walk the walk.
Oh, I like that. Okay. All right, so these are some things. Now, the companies that you want to work for, most of them have a core value statement. If you want to have fun when they ask you that question in the interview, do you have any questions for us? Ask them to tell you how their decision-making process is affected by their core values. Core values are designed, well, let's be honest. Most companies have a core value statement to put up on the wall for the bankers to see. Because it just looks good. They have no intention. And how do I know that? Because that's what I do. And I said most. I got to back off of that. It may not be most. But I can tell you this much. Remember Enron? How do we forget Enron? Enron had 2 core values. They had 4. The 2 that I remember were integrity and relationships. They must have defined them differently than most of us, would you agree? But this is the thing. So if you can figure this out, you'll know, and what I'm explaining to you is when companies tell us about the Ethics Award that, oh, these are our, this is what we do. These are some of the questions that we ask them to talk to us about. And if they can't answer that, that's okay. We still love you. But you don't get the award. You don't get to go from nominee to finalist. If you look at this, if you have a core value of stewardship, of honesty, these kind of things, think about how much those elevate in your life when you're giving back. Think about how much your platform increases to be able to talk to others about values. If you come in and see, now I know a little bit about this because I've been on the giving end, but I've also been on the receiving end. Because there was a little hurricane a while back, you remember it was called Katrina. And that, man, there's a really bad word in my head right now. No, I'm not going to say it. That stinker flooded my house and destroyed antiques that had been in my family for 100 years. And all my guns. Ticked me off. But you know what I saw as a result of that? I went back to New Orleans as fast as I could after the storm to help rebuild the city. Because that's what I do. So I went back in, and what I saw was busload after busload after busload after busload after busload of people from all over the country giving back and helping New Orleans. And in the helping of others, which I did a lot of too, it was very easy to have these conversations with people about what's important to you. What's important? While I'm cleaning the mud out of your house and you're standing right here next to me, it's hot and we're sweating and I got some water and you got some water. Let's take a little break here. What's important to you besides getting your house cleaned up? And then I'd get to talk to them about values and how your values change your behaviors. Every behavior that you and I have is connected to something we value. If you want to know what someone values, if you want to know what an organization values, watch their behavior. It tells you a lot. And it'll tell your potential employers a lot about you when you talk to them about your behavior. If your behavior is, man, I've been unemployed, I've been giving back. This is what I've been doing. What does that tell me about you? It tells me a lot of great things. It tells me what you value. So you can tell me, oh, I value honesty, or you could show me what you value. And of course, we know which one speaks louder. So one of the things I want you to do now is I want you to think about someone, an individual, a person that you admire. Have you got a name in your head? Go back to the Recognized Good site. Go back to the form, because we also give an award to individuals. Nominate that person. Now that you've got your phone in your hand, I know you can do it right now, but it'd just eat up a lot of time. They have to turn off the camera. It'd be boring for whoever's watching this. So let's not do that right now, but write down a note and please do this. Please nominate. It might be a neighbor, it might be your aunt, I don't care. Somebody you know that you admire because of the values that they demonstrate. And now I do want you to take your phone out. I want you to open up your text message program. And I want you to send that person a text. Right now. Seriously, I know those of you watching online, this is terribly boring. Unless you take out your phone, text somebody, find them, and send them a text message that says this: I just nominated you for the Ethics Award. The Ethics Award. I want you to do that right now, because when you get a response, I want you to raise your hand, and I want to hear what they respond. These are usually pretty interesting. We did this one time, and the response they got back was a teenage kid. And of course, they already did it in the time it took you and me to think about it. They've already got it done, right? And so the text comes back, and I think Joel was there, and the kid raised his hand, and I recognized him, and he said, "Who's this?" Well, y'all are really close, right? Text your appreciation. When you text appreciation to someone, when you give appreciation to someone in whatever form, today we get to do it by text message. If you're a millennial, that's the only way that you do it is by text message. My daughter is a millennial. I own 2 millennials, by the way. So I can talk about it. 2 very well-adjusted, abnormal millennials.
Are you sure they don't own you?
Absolutely sure. I know. Yeah. We took care of that a long time ago, brother. Let me tell you what, I love them. A lot of people in management, in fact, one of the number one things my clients talk to me about is how do you manage millennials? I said, well, first of all, is remember, you trained them. If we want to gripe about the millennial generation, if we're the boomer generation, we might want to point the finger at us because we trained them. And by the way, it's not like we didn't screw up everything first. I mean, I think they're the hope for the future. So I love working with them. But when it comes to using technology, my daughter told me the other day, she said, "Daddy, you need to understand millennials don't make phone calls." Because I told her something she needed to do that involved sales. It's like key, the number one thing in sales. What's the number one thing in sales? Make sales. What is the number 2 thing? Pick up the phone. And they don't want to pick up the phone. And they tell me that sales are done differently today. No. Text your appreciation. When you appreciate someone verbally, 2 things happen. That happy part of your brain starts going off. And the happy part of their brain starts going off. I mean, this is not that difficult to figure out. It's just sometimes we get stuck in thinking about the last episode of whatever horrible killer TV show we were watching. Those are pretty entertaining. And whatever else is going on, and we navel gaze. You know what navel gazing is, right? That's the PhD level word for depressed. It's this. Just looking down. Guess what happens in your brain when you look down? All your emotions drop. It's amazing to watch. I've watched it on the screen before. It's amazing. When you look up, your emotions go up. When you look down, your emotions go down. And it takes somewhere between 30 and 90 seconds for that to start working. Anytime you're feeling a little bit bluesy, go outside and look at the sky. Think about how big God is. And tell your problems about it. Last thing I want to tell you about. Here's what happens. Not only do you make more money, but when you volunteer, you will reduce the drama in your workplace and in your life. Now, anybody who does not want to reduce the drama in their workplace or their life is either trying to make a living like Kim Kardashian. She's made a wonderful living. But I mean, this is people who create drama. And the reality, if you go talk to any psychologist, they'll tell you that people who have this inner need to create drama, I mean, like things are all running smooth, and they're going to start trouble. If you are like my family, you've got those people in your family. You get to see them twice a year, and you really aren't too sure you want to see them 3 times. You may have, whatever you do, don't unfriend them on Facebook. Oh, I made that mistake one time. But you can unfollow, and then they don't know. If you actively reduce the drama, think about this. If you're in a workplace and you actively work and reduce the drama in your workplace, your stock goes which direction? Straight up. That's right. If you actively increase the drama, straight out with you. Don't let the door hit you. Right? We wish. We've all worked in those workplaces where the person creating the drama for some unknown reason gets to stay. Those companies are not well managed. But that's another story for another day. All right. Now let me tell you what, the person that's doing the drama is a person with low emotional control. Now this is going to hit a point in just a second. I'm going to give you a little bit of information. And this is going to hit a point that's going to blow you away. In fact, I'm going to get to it very, very quickly. Low emotional control causes all kinds of problems. But I read this out of Psychology Today. volunteering lowers depression, increases a sense of well-being, and causes a 22% reduction in the risk of dying. If you don't want to die, go volunteer. God, I could just said that and left. There's the message for today. What did Jack say? If you don't want to die, go volunteer. 22%, that's a very, I mean, 1.5%, 2% would be significant, statistically, would be a significant reduction. 22%? And what's really interesting about this, too, Will James, the father of modern psychology, 100 years ago, talked about how when he told his patients, I'm quoting, go across the tracks and help someone. Those that did tended to recover twice as fast from melancholia. That's what you and I call depression. Twice as fast recovery. Because they were giving to others. Isn't that amazing? You want less drama, give to others. You want less drama, get the person who's been causing the drama to go with you, because 9 out of 10 times what's causing them to create all this drama is they are struggling to control their own emotions. And many, many times, if you know their real story, what's going on in their life, it's because there's some junk going on, or there's been some in the past and they're still telling themselves that way back story that this is how life is, and they think they're controlling it by causing problems. They think that's giving them a sense of control. You know it doesn't. I know it doesn't. But if you try to reason with this kind of stuff, you've missed the boat. It's not reasonable. People who cause drama are not reasonable. That's why we have to push back from them. But if you don't want to be that person, volunteerism is the number one thing to do. And if you don't want them to continue to be that person, lock arms and take them with you. How many people have a really good, juicy story about somebody causing drama? I mean, those are fun to tell, right? Come on. Oh, sure they are. Yeah, people sitting here because they thought, you think I'm still a preacher. Everybody lies to the preacher. You want to tell one?
Yeah.
Can you do it in 90 seconds?
Used to work with came out of the section on that guard, used to work with a colonel who managed by confrontation. And no matter what it was, you could get in a confrontation over anything.
Colonel who managed by confrontation. Colonel, confrontation. Walked in the room and the tension, say it again.
He would walk in a room like you talked about earlier, positivity, and then he walked in the room, the tension
went up. And this dude thought that was a good idea. You know what happens to creativity when tension and stress goes up? Creativity goes down. Your brain operates like this. You either get fight or flight response, which is a tension stress response designed to make you to allow you to survive, or you get relaxed. When you relax, creativity goes up. Which means the Colonel Confrontation never got any creative ideas out of his people. There's a Texas word for that. I speak, by the way, we're the lady who speaks 3 languages. I speak 2. I do. I speak Texan and a little bit of English. But I'm learning. We have a name for a guy like that. It's dumb, and you know the rest of it. One time I had a 40-year-old guy dating, put the quote marks around dating, an 18-year-old. Yeah, we had to fire him. He spent an enormous amount of energy explaining to us, me, why this was okay. Well, how long y'all been dating? And I'm thinking, where do you take her? Chuck E. Cheese? As a matter of fact, he did. Yeah. How long have y'all been dating? A year. You think? That's when I reported him. Yeah, that's a child molester. That's a bad dude. Emotional control. He made every excuse in the book about how his wife didn't care about him, his wife did this, his wife did that, job was stressful. I know, see, that guy, you think you got stories, but I do like Colonel Confrontation. I may use that. You may hear that again sometime, although that Dodgers hat's not going to play here. That's got to go, man. I used to like the Dodgers, but that's got to go. I had a guy one time that I with his company, and this guy at MIT gets out that this guy graduated from MIT. I thought, MIT? I don't know anybody from MIT. I'd like to meet a guy from MIT, so I got to take this guy along. And the first thing I notice he's from MIT is he doesn't have manners and grammar like I would think a guy from MIT would have. So I asked him, well, what's it like living in Boston? He didn't correct me. You ever talk to anybody who went to Harvard? They didn't live in Boston. Where'd they live? Cambridge. Oh, and they want you to know that. Kind of like I want you to know I'm from Austin. Kind of like anybody from Texas wants you to know. Don't ever ask somebody if they're from Texas. Don't ever ask somebody if they're from Texas. Because if they are, they'll tell you anyway. And if they aren't, you offend them. So don't ever do that. But this guy's from MIT, and it just, something wasn't right. Something wasn't on target. And then I noticed he was really rude. He kept telling me about all his Christian values, and how he's, went to church and all this kind of stuff. And he's kind of a little overboard about this stuff. And I noticed he was rude to the young lady that was waiting on our table. He was rude to the point that I told him to knock it off. A few months later, we started getting reports about his quality of his work. It turned out he did go to MIT. He was an employee on a construction crew at MIT and took advantage of an employee benefit that allowed him to attend one class, which he did not get a grade in. So he thought he was from MIT. It didn't take long to fire him. But the drama, our CFO estimated how much money it cost to deal with this guy, $250,000, because he tore up so many contracts and relationships with customers that the total cost was $250,000. And why did that? How did that happen? Because during the hiring process, steps were skipped and clues were ignored about behavior and claims, and once again, never showed up to a single volunteer opportunity, ever. I mean, you start to see a pattern after a while, wouldn't you agree? I've got a lot more of these stories, but they get kind of scary and boring after a while. But I do have a tremendous faith. Most people want to do the right thing. I will tell you that. Most people want to do the right thing, and most people are pretty good at it. So I want you to imagine that if you can, just simply by volunteering and reducing the drama, all this stuff that I've taught you today that works at work to make you more money, it also works at home. Think of the money you'll save on attorneys and therapy. We make you money and we save you money. I mean, you walking out of here, if you're not telling the world you're rich today, you are telling the world the wrong thing. You live in the United States of America. And one thing I know is we are still in the opportunity business. And we are not stopping anytime this week. We're not stopping anytime next week either, as far as I can tell. We do kind of need to get out of the Twitter business. But that's another story for another day. Hey, it's time for me to be done. I want you to leave you with a thought here. Austin is known as what? Keep Austin weird. That originally started as a call for Austin people to deal with local businesses, because we had so many weird, funky businesses, and we still do, and I love that about our city. I've lived also in New Orleans, which also prided itself in its local businesses, and to the point that they would picket. When Starbucks first moved into New Orleans, there were picketers that said, "Get out." After Katrina, unfortunately, that changed. Austin is known as a place known far and wide. Keep Austin weird. I have people from Canada telling me, keep Austin weird. You know what would be really great? It'd be really great if one of these days we said keep Austin good and weird. And that's where you come in. Nominate individuals, businesses, and a certain nonprofit needs to get about 60 nominations today. We'll only take one. No, really. Seriously, nominate those organizations that you're proud of. Let us go in and talk to them. Because even if they don't go through to finalists and don't win the award, guess what happens? They learn what it means to be an ethical organization, and we give them the opportunity to up their game, and they can renominate next year as many times as it takes for them to get to the place where they do win. The more that we spread this out. This is what Recognize Good is about. We're a connecting organization between nonprofits and businesses. We're privately funded. We're not asking you for any money. There is no text this number for $10. We ain't doing that. Here's what we are doing. We're asking you to nominate. That's it. And when you get that job, we might want you to remember us and see how we can help your organization connect with a really great nonprofit, or your nonprofit connect with some really great businesses. How's that sound? Does that sound fair? Okay. Just because I love you, I got some more stuff for you. And my friend Shannon, who loves to speak and is really good at it. Really good at it. Shannon asked me a couple things. So the first one, we've talked about this before. The first one is I want to give you an offer today. Now this is from me. All right, this is not Recognized Good. This is from me. We talked about this, and so if this is not me pitching you. This is me offering you an opportunity. Do with it what you please. First 5 people that talk to me before I leave, I have a coaching package of 2 sessions that I will give to you. It's a $700 value. You'll get it for $99. The only people who do not want a coach are the people who do want to ride the bench. Every athlete you know, I was an athlete, you probably already, well, you look at me, you wouldn't know that. My job was to get on a football field and kill people. I never succeeded, but I got very close because I always listened to my coaches. At age 20, when my life was just about homeless, not kidding, I hired a coach. Made all the difference in the world. On October the 6th, you want to come talk about this? On October the 6th at 1:30, am I right?
Yeah, it's one of our satellite classes, and I haven't yet put it on Eventbrite, so forgive me on that Saturday. But we're going to have Jack come to Excellent, and he's going to talk about how to find a coach. He's not talking about him per se, but he's talking about if you were looking for a career coach, or life coach, career coach, whatever, and he will give you all of the do's and don'ts.
Yeah, it's all about fit. Yeah. And the reason why I am not the right coach for probably most of the people in this room, because I would not be a good fit for you. You may be sitting there thinking, I don't really like this guy. That's okay. A lot of people are in your tribe. And a lot of people are in my tribe. It's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. What I will show you is how to find the questions to ask and how to find the coach that is a fit for you, how to talk about the fees, what you should and should not sign, what kind of things you should expect, and how quickly you should get those results. And what to do if you're not getting it. That's what I'll work with you on. I was on the board of the International Coach Federation for a couple of years, and this and the ethics thing, this was part of what I did for that organization.